Running late today. I'm running late because I was messing around for a game that I'm running tonight. I had to refamiliarize myself with the rules. Running a game of Mutants and Masterminds. It's a superhero RPG game. But anyway, having friends over, playing some games. But I had to refamiliarize myself with the rules because I haven't played it in a long time. But and it's a little more complicated than like Dungeons and Dragons. But that's not what I want to talk about. I was watching some clips before I went to bed last night of Tucker Carlson, and he was talking to some Huffington Post writer, Huffington Post, and it dawned on me that the left is now occupying a position that before was, you know, the realm of the conspiratorial right. I mean, they're pushing this narrative forward. They're continuing on with this nonsense about Russian hacking. The Russians hacked the election, and they keep saying the same phrase over and over and over again, and it's ridiculous. There's no evidence of it. It's just one of these things where I guess if you say something enough, people eventually start to believe it, right? And plenty of people do. Lots of people are like, yeah, Russians hacked the election. That's why Donald Trump is an illegitimate president. Blah, 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 blah. But I mean, like, this is... And Tucker Carlson was just tearing this guy a new one, just laughing at him and saying, you're ridiculous. And he, you know, he doesn't go the point of Bill O'Reilly where he says, cut him off, you know, where they cut his mic or anything. He just, look, the interview's done. This is done. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. You're supposed to be a journalist and you're putting this stuff out here. And you're a partisan activist for Hillary Clinton, or a partisan, what do you say, a partisan operative of the Clinton campaign. Anyway. And I guess, I don't know, because he was citing some article that was from some source that was run by a kook, an anti-Semitic kook, and he was using that as his basis for making the argument that Trump is a Manchurian candidate by the you know, put there by the Russians. He was saying that he was citing some article regarding Trump going to Russia in 1988, and at that time he had been compromised by the Russian authorities. And this article was apparently from some publication. I can't remember, was it the Intelligence Review something? Anyway, it's written by some kook, apparently, according to Tucker Carlson. Anyway, just the treatment of this guy at Huffington Post was kind of like how the left would often, you know, treat people on the right who would, you know, talk about FEMA camps and this sort of stuff, right? And, you know, Obama's going to take our guns, Obama's going to repeal the Second Amendment, blah, 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 blah. I mean, and it sounded ridiculous when the right was doing it, and it sounds ridiculous when the left are doing it now, talking about Russians hacking the election. And there I don't know what the statistics are. I read something about there's a decent plurality of Americans who believe that Russian agents interfered with the vote tallies. Not that, you know, Russians are responsible for information about the DNC and information about Hillary Clinton being released and John Podesta being released. Even though there's no evidence of that either. But the belief is that Russia actually hacked the ballots, which is ridiculous. And all the way leading up to the election, they were saying there's no way they can hack the election. You know, article after article coming out, people, you know, citing intelligence officers, you know, regarding, you know, the safety of the balloting process. Would it be possible for anyone to hack the election? And, you know, there are legitimate concerns about, you know, the security of, you know, voting machines, and there have been for years. But all these articles coming out prior to election, no, it's impossible. They can't hack the election. The election is not hackable, blah, 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 blah. And now, after their candidate loses, after Hillary loses, the election was hacked. And it was hacked by Russians. It's ridiculous. So the left are now occupying this spot on the right, but that was only reserved to a few crazies on the right who believed in the whole idea of FEMA camps, like like Alex Jones, FEMA camps and the removal of the Second Amendment, or the registration of all firearms, the registration of all firearm owners and whatnot. Yeah, but the difference is on the left now. It's everybody on the left. It's like the standard talking point of anybody. Like, I mean, I should, as much as I hate watching broadcast news, I should, so I can get a better sense of what is being put out there. And now that Trump has won, I really should be starting to watch broadcast news, because I'm going to see the difference, the contrast between how broadcast news dealt with the Obama presidency versus how they're going to deal with the Trump presidency. And I have a feeling that it's going to be starkly different. I have a feeling that it's going to be something surreal in terms of how different it is. Yeah, but... So what do I hope for a Trump presidency? I hope that he makes good on his promise to enshrine once again the idea of nationalism. And I know that sounds scary to a lot of people when they hear the term nationalism. They can't help but think of Nazis. But nationalism and pride in your nation, putting your country first, thinking of your country's needs first as opposed to some treaty that was signed with people in another country. Putting the needs of the citizens first as opposed to corporate interests, global interests. I hope that comes about. It could all just be rhetoric. The cynic in me thinks it is all rhetoric. I think that Trump is going to be probably the first president in a long time who seriously wants to deal with Islamic terrorism. Now again, it could be rhetoric. I don't know. But I mean, we know that no one in Europe seriously wants to deal with it. And this is what boggles my mind. I read these articles about how, people are being locked up for saying things online that are critical, not of Islam necessarily, but critical of the immigration policies of the country that they live in. Critical of their own country, and they're being targeted by police for this. They're being arrested, or they're being locked up, or they're being censured or whatever, being fined. And I read about it all the time, and in places like Sweden, and I mean, I know a lot of people who don't live in Sweden are commenting on Sweden. And it's probably not my place to make a judgment about the country of Sweden, but based on what I read, I just don't understand it. These people were Vikings, and they have become so passive. Not everybody, obviously. There's people who are trying to fight against it, but the authorities in Sweden have as their main goal trying to appear tolerant. And even they're starting to realize now they can't take any more migrants. But that doesn't matter with the ones that are already there. They're committing the vast majority of sexual assaults. The vast majority of violent crime is being committed by people who are not indigenous Swedes. And when you see the police and you see the state making excuses or doing these, these measures that don't have as their focus the safety of Swedes, or the safety of citizens even, but on making sure that, there isn't a backlash, then I gotta wonder, why isn't there a backlash? I'm like, I said something on Facebook yesterday that maybe I shouldn't have said. I said that Swedes need to oust their government in a non-democratic manner. And you can take that for what it means. I think they should storm their Capitol building and get all the schmucks out. I mean, that's not going to happen, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did at some point. Malmo is turned into this, like, no-go zone, apparently. Nobody who's non-Muslim goes to Malmo. Cops won't even go there. Malmo used to be, like, this Swedish resort town, right? People would go there, they had these beautiful beaches. People would go there and just relax on the beach. Not anymore, apparently. Again, I'm commenting on a place I've never been. Only what I read about, but right? I mean, that's the nature of things, right? In the modern information age. How much of what I have is information, how much of what I have is, you know, a screed by a person with an agenda. I'm sure a lot of it is a screed by a person with an agenda, but reading it and dissecting it and using my media savvy, and then watching people on YouTube who live in Sweden and are equally critical and give a first-hand account of what they're encountering there, that to me is much more helpful, much more informative than like an article written by somebody about a place that is written in such a manner so as to put forth a specific narrative. Watching a video by somebody who, you know, like angry foreigner who lives in Sweden, is like a Bosnian immigrant, but they're, you know, arrived there years ago, but has been living in Sweden for I don't know how many years. But anyway, he speaks about the ridiculousness that's going on there, and for me, his view sort of resonates more. But anyway, I'm at work now. I got to go to work, and I'll talk to you folks later.